Typically picturesque conditions here at the Fuji International Speedway. Here is Quinten Hall, fresh from his podium last time out in round 3 of the World Series. What is a Belgian driver going to be able to do? Likewise, Nico Romero as well, only 14th in round 3. He'll be certainly hoping for better fortunes out on track here at the Fuji International Speedway. This one-lap qualifying session is going to make things a little bit interesting for the drivers. Andrew Lee from Australia, P7 in round 3. Not bad pace from him, but he'll be hoping to make his way up into the top 5 here this weekend, if he can.
That's Kawakami, 4th out on circuit, a Japanese driver on home soil as well. I'm sure he'll be looking to try and better his 11th place in the last round. Here also is Lucas Spinelli, 8th in round 3. Again, middle of the pack for the Brazilian. We're used to seeing him a little bit higher, so I'm sure he'll be looking to improve on that. And as well, another Japanese driver, Tomoaki Yamanaka, out there 9th in the 3rd round. So again, room to improve for Yamanaka.
Here's the second of our Brazilians then in this group. This is Adriano Carrazza, again a driver who we know has got very strong pace underneath him, but needs some luck, and some would argue to iron out a few mistakes in his driving there as well. Let's see whether he can do that. What about Nikita Moisov, the driver from the Czech Republic, finished 6th in round 3, just coming through into that left-hander. We know Nikita is very fast. We saw that in the likes of the Olympic Virtual Series earlier on this year. Now here are them riding on board with Quinten Hall. This is the start-finish straight, one of the longest of pretty much any circuit in motorsport. Down this long straight in towards the first corner. Where on earth do you pick your braking zone out of all that?
Yeah, you have some very handy markers up there on the top left actually, and when you're sort of practicing, you can, I always say, brake early first and then you can work into it. Of course, in the virtual world you can actually afford to brake later first and go a bit wider, but if you're doing it in real life, I'd say just sort of work your way up to it there. But braking just before the 100 board there for Quinten Hall seemed to work fairly well. Great to see this 458 being rolled back out again. I've not heard this car for a while. I've always forgotten what a naturally aspirated Ferrari engine sounds like. I'm missing that. That will turbo now. That will sound sort of nice and efficient. These, however, much more interesting.
This is the last ever naturally aspirated Ferrari V8 engine, and I have to say, when I was competing on an older Gran Turismo title many years ago, this was the one game that one car that I picked just because of the sound of the engine when I was competing in league racing back in the day. But anyway, enough of that, more of this. Look at this smooth cornering style here from Quinten Hall. And that seems to be so important because there's so many long radius and flowing corners that if you're wrenching the steering wheel, it's going to cost you more than you gain.
Yeah, it's really easy to over-rotate these cars. They're mid-engine, so they turn quite a bit, and then they'll keep turning if you don't put in the right input. So very easy to spin these around. Here comes Quinten Hall then, through the last corner, onto the, not using much of the runoff there. I thought it'd be a bit further over there, but there must be a cut track penalty out there. And now coming down the main straight to set the first of our time for our first group. Midway through the 130s, it seems, so 135.9 for Quinten Hall. What about Nicolas Romero behind? He's slightly slower at the moment. Oh no, sorry, I say that. He was quicker for the last corner. I think he actually gained time there on that curb. I said Quinten was slow.
Yeah, and it seems to use a bit more of the corner exit, as you said, gained a bit of time and therefore gained position as well. And Lee going ahead of Hall there as well, so it's not been a lap to write home about. It has been one to write home about for the hometown hero, Kanata Kawakami. He's a 10th of a second up as he darts to the timing line, breaks the beam, and goes provisional pole with a 138.5.8. I should say, rather. Not good for Lucas Spinelli. Half-second penalty for track limits then as he comes over the timing line. That's going to put him right to the back of the field. He will have his qualifying time disallowed as a result of that, as Yamanaka comes to break the beam, then the second of the Japanese drivers in the first group, and he goes provisional pole with a 135.7.
Yeah, Carrazza looking very quick as well at the moment. Only just a hair slower than Yamanaka in the last sector. Loses a bit more though down the straight. Loses 2 tenths there out of the last corner, so really made a big mistake there. And likewise, Nikita Moisov, 5 seconds off the pace, so it's not going to be a pole for Moisov, but even being 5 seconds slower, he will still be ahead of Lucas Spinelli, who of course didn't actually set a lap time.
So we've had our first 8 drivers then out on track. We've got the remaining 8 to come. These are the quicker of the groups, you would argue, gives based on championship position, with the likes of Valerio Gallo in there, Jose Serrano, Coque Lopez, etc. What do you think they're going to be thinking at this point as they come out on track?
I think just trying to repeat what they've seen before, really. Adam Tapai, we know, for example, has been quite a quick qualifier when he gets it right, but we've seen a couple of mistakes in qualifying recently, similar to what we saw from Benelli, where it just maybe grabs a little bit too much curb and gets a 0.5 second penalty. Here's Takumi Miyazono as well. Again, a very quick guy in his own right. We always expect a lot from him, given that he's our current reigning triple champion. And Angel Enestrosa as well. I mean, I know Angel more from his time with Porsche in the Manufacturers Series, but he seems to get on with that mid-engine layout, so maybe this Ferrari will suit him.
Yeah, let's see whether that can work for him. What about Igor Fraga then? Now behind the wheel of the Ferrari 458. Coque Lopez there as well. He's not coming off of a strong result. You can see there, finish 10th in round 3. In stark contrast to this man here, his compatriot Jose Serrano, who has really taken the candle this year to the rest of the field, second in round 3. And then comes this man, Valerio Gallo. We don't need to introduce him. You know him as well as we do, I'm sure. Finished first in round 3. He's taken 2 wins so far in 2021. Can he do the business here?
And last driver, certainly not least, is Ryota Kokubun. Horrible time last time out. I've just noticed, by the way, Tom, that Luke Spinelli, it might just be a graphical thing, but he's actually switched to the higher tyre. Now, given that he's not actually set a time, is he allowed to switch tyres to the hard compound? Because the rule in this race, you have to start the race on the opposite compound to the tyre you qualify on. And given that it's medium and hard in this race, that means he'll get to start on the medium when the race starts.
Do you remember round 3 last time when we had Carrazza and he tried some bold strategies? It's just something that Brazilians just like to try and do, to try and shake it up a bit. Maybe he's going to, as you say, start on a different compound of tyre. Maybe he'll go for the mediums, everyone else will go for the hards, because everyone's setting these qualifying times on the medium, so therefore, as a de facto, they'll have to start on the hard tyre, and who knows, maybe that will be what he needs to get himself in amongst the mix to get his elbows out in this one.
We'll see. That might not be the case, but we'll check in on that when the race starts. Anyway, back to qualifying and back to Adam Depay on board. This last section of the Fuji circuit is quite difficult when a car like this is so prone to understeer. This right-hander here, for example, the road just falls away, but then suddenly you have a bit of camber for this left-hander, so it's a bit nicer through this section, using all the curb on the inside there. Curb can quite easily upset the car around here, any car really, so it's always a risk versus reward strategy. They're using as much on the inside there, then trying to straight line the exit as much as possible. There is a track limit warning on the outside there, so you'll be very careful how far out you go, and now it's just a sprint down the straight.
So coming towards the line then is Adam Depay. Where is this lap time going to put him? It's not going to be at the sharp end of the field. It is mid-pack for the moment into 7th position. Here is Takuma Miyazono, who's a bit quicker and ready for provisional pole. What can Miyazono do, the reigning champion, as he comes to the timing line? It is provisional pole, so it's a Japanese 1-2-3 with 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining then in this session. Angel Nostroza's just under 0.2 of a second away from that time. Where's it going to put him? It'll be inside the top 3 for now, so he breaks up that Japanese trio as Igor Fraga a little bit off the pace in that final sector. What can the Brazilian driver do as he comes to the line? Has he made up time in that final corner? He has. He goes to 2nd position at the outside of the front row.
There'd be a real secret to that last section, isn't there? A lot of people gaining time there. Coque Lopez 2 temps down through the last sector beam. Will he make that up coming across the line? No, P11 for Coque Lopez. A big mistake there in the last sector. Puts him down pretty much out the running for now. Jose Serrano, his Spanish compatriot, managed to spin it all the way up into 3rd place. Wow, really close there between the top 3.
Brilliant stuff there for Jose Serrano, continuing that strong form once again as Lopez falters. Now here is Valerio Gallo, pole position for Valerio Gallo, a 1:35.6, but Kokuba's ready to spoil the party here on home soil at Fuji. Can he do it? No, he can't. He loses time in the final sector, so a big upset there for Ryota Kokubun, and he only lines up P5 on the grid in the Nations Cup. Well, huge drama there for Kokubun, delight for Valerio Gallo and Takuma Miyazono as they occupy the front row of the grid for World Series 4 in the Nations Cup.